הנה. אוקיי, אז שוב תודה לכל המצטרפים, תודה שבאתם. כמו שאתם רואים על השקף, שמי חואן רובר, אני מנהל אגף, או מספר אגפים בעצם במטריקס. כאשר במהלך האירוע הקרוב, אנחנו הולכים לדבר על GitLab ועל OpenShift. עם Red Hat אנחנו שותפים ותיקים. מי שעוקב אחרינו, האירוע הזה, Mix and Match, זה סדרה של מפגשים שאנחנו עושים ביחד עם Red Hat. הקודם היה על Run AI, לפני זה היה על Dynatrace, ואם הולכים אחורה בזמן אפשר לזכור הרבה אירועים שאנחנו עושים ביחד. כאשר הרעיון זה לשלב פתרונות שהבסיס שלהם מבוסס OpenShift, ולתת פתרונות שהם פתרונות הוליסטיים בעצם ללקוחות. האירוע היום מתבסס על השילוב של GitLab ב-OpenShift, כאשר הלכה במעשה אנחנו, כשמדברים על מודרניזציה, יש מספר דברים שחשובים לנו. אחד זה היכולת לעבוד הייבריד, להיות Cloud אגנוסטי, והשילוב של שתי הפתרונות נותן לנו את שתי העקרונות האלה. בדבר שני שמעניין באירוע, שאנחנו באמצעות השילוב של שתי הפתרונות, אגב, מי שמכיר את האזורים של, או את המושג של אופרטורים, אני חושב שאורן אויכמן שמגיע אחריי מחברת Red Hat, ירחיב על הנושא הזה. נמצא בעצם שהפתרונות משולבים ויודעים לעבוד ביחד, ואנחנו נותנים פתרון ממש הכנת הסביבה עצמה של הפיתוח, על כל שלבי הפיתוח ועד הייצור, בפתרון שהוא פתרון הוליסטי שמתחבר, ותוך כדי שימת דגש על כל מה שקשור לסקיוריטי. GitLab מוגדר בין היתר כפתרון DevSecOps, שמאפשר לפתח מהר, יעיל, בסביבה שהיא סביבה מאובטחת. אז מה יש לנו בזמן הקצר שלפנינו? אחריי ידבר אורן אויchman, Solution Architect מחברת Red Hat. אחרי אורן ידיר, גם ידבר ויספר לנו על GitLab. אתם תופתעו, ואני מניח שחלקכם הגדול מכיר את הפתרון, אבל תופתעו על רוחב היריעה ואיזו התקדמות טכנולוגית מדהימה הפתרון עשה. לאחר מכן יהיה לנו לייב דמו, שגם ידיר יעשה אותו, ותוך כדי אנחנו מאפשרים לכם לשאול שאלות. אנחנו לקראת הסוף, ואני מקווה שישאר לנו מספיק זמן, נשתדל לענות על כל השאלות, במה שלא נספיק, מן הסתם נוכל לפנות אליכם, או אתם אלינו באופליין, ולהשלים פערים שנוצרו. אני כרגע מעביר את המקל, קודם כל תודה, שוב, ומעביר את המקל לאורן אויchman, אורן סולושן ארכיטקט של Red Hat ישראל, ו-EMEA. אורן, בבקשה.
תודה רבה, חואן. וואי, באמת כיף להיות פה ומרגש. אנחנו באמת, היום בעצם הנושא שלי, זה כפי שאתם יכולים לראות, זה באמת OpenShift בעולם ההיברידי. אני מוכרח להודות שזה אחד הנושאים שהכי מעניינים אותי לדבר עליהם, כי אנחנו באמת רואים כל מה שקורה בזמן האחרון. למי שלא מכיר אותי, דרך אגב, שמי אורן אויchman, נשוי +4, 5 שנים ב-Red Hat, אני אקס מטריקס לפני זה. באמת נתעסק עם המון דברים סביב כל העולם של האופן סורס ואופן-שיפט בפרט כמובן. ולאחרונה בפברואר האחרון שדרגתי את הגרסה שלי לגרסת 4.0. והאמת זה נשמע זקן, אבל ממרום גילי יצא לי קצת זמן ככה לקחת ולהסתכל על מה עברנו, או בכלל מה אני באופן אישי ומה אנחנו כחברה עברנו בשנים האחרונות, ובאמת אפשר להגיד שנכנסנו לסוג של עידן חדש. נכנסנו לעידן חדש שמכיל הרבה קונספטים חדשים, הרבה מושגים שלאף אחד לא היה מושג על מה מדברים לפני 10 שנים, היום הפכו להיות חוד החנית, הרבה מאוד דברים שקשורים לעולמות שלנו, בטח דברים כמו CI/CD ו-DevOps ו-Cloud Native, כל הבאזוורדס וכל המושגים שאני מניח שרובכם כבר מכירים, ואם לא אז אני בטוח שאני ואדיר נשלים לכם היום חלק גדול מזה. זה עידן חדש שבאמת, אם אני רוצה לשים איזשהו משהו נקודתי שהוא מאפשר לנו, זה הוא מאפשר לנו innovation חדש, בכל העולמות שלנו דרך אגב, innovation חדש, גם בעולמות, מן הסתם, גם בעולמות האישיים, אבל כמובן בעולמות של הביזנס, אם פתאום חברת המוניות הכי גדולה בעולם לא מחזיקה מונית אחת לדוגמה, כל זה קורה בזכות innovation, בזכות טכנולוגיה, ובזכות בדיוק כל המקומות האלה וכל הדברים היפים שבכלל עונן והייבריד קלאוד מביא לנו ובא לידי ביטוי. עכשיו, innovation כמושג לא בא בקלות בכלל. צריך באמת להיות 3 פילרים מאוד מאוד ברורים כדי ש-innovation יצליח כמו שצריך. אחד זה לחשוב מהר, להיות יצירתי, להיות לפני כולם, כי יכול להיות שהיה לך רעיון מעולה, לקח לך הרבה זמן מאוד מאוד לפתח אותו, ומישהו בינתיים במקביל הספיק לפתח לפניך. אז כל ה-innovation טוב ויפה, אבל באמת צריך להיות מהיר כדי שלא ישיגו אותנו בפינה. צריכים להיות גם גמישים, צריכים גם לחשוב מחוץ לקופסה, לאפשר לנו את הגמישות הזאת של המחשבתית, של לעשות פנייה במקום הנכון, או לעשות פיקס במקום הנכון, כדי שהשוק יגיב לנו טוב לכל מה שאנחנו עושים, וכמובן שאנחנו נגיב לשוק לצרכים שלו. ואני חושב שגם חלק מאוד מאוד חשוב בזה, זה היכולת של גדילה מאוד מאוד מהירה. מחר מישהו בא ויוריד את האפליקציה שלנו שכתבנו, שיגש לאתר או לסאס החדש שיצרנו, ובעצם אנחנו נגדיל את כמות הלקוחות שלנו בצורה אקספוננציאלית, אפילו אם זה איזשהו משהו פנימי שלא ציפינו, ואנחנו צריכים להיות ערוכים לזה, אנחנו צריכים להיות מוכנים, גם להיות יצירתיים, גם להיות גמישים מאוד, וכמובן שאנחנו צריכים להיות מוכנים לגדילה מאוד 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 גדולה. עכשיו, כמובן שכל הדברים האלה בעצם באים לידי ביטוי כשאנחנו מסתכלים על ענן היברידי. זאת אומרת, כשאנחנו מסתכלים גם על ענן פאבליק וגם על ענן פרייבט, בעצם מה אנחנו מצפים? בדיוק את הדברים האלה. אנחנו צריכים גמישות, אנחנו רוצים חוויית לקוח טובה, שזה גם, דרך אגב, חוויית לקוח זה מכל המקומות, זה לא רק לקוחות שלנו, של האפליקציה, זה גם לקוחות של המפתחים שלנו, שיהיה להם תשתית נוחה לעבוד, וגם שלנו שתהיה גישה נוחה ולמוצרים, ושהכל יהיה לנו שקוף, ושנדע מה קורה במערכות שלנו, ובסופו של דבר ליישר את ה-line of business שלנו עם כל הצרכים וכל הדרישות. עכשיו, כל הדברים האלה הם דברים סופר חשובים וסופר קריטיים, אבל יש לו עוד נספח אחד מעל זה. זאת אומרת, כשאני בעצם בא לפתח משהו חדש, חשוב לי קודם כל שאני אעשה את זה פעם אחת, חשוב לי לפתח מהר, חשוב לי לא רק לפתח מהר, חשוב לי אבל גם שהדיפלוימנט שלי יהיה אחיד. זאת אומרת, אני לא רוצה ללכת ולעשות דיפלוימנט אחד ב-on-premises, דיפלוימנט שני בענן ציבורי אחד, ודיפלוימנט אחר לגמרי בענן ציבורי אחר. אני רוצה שהכל יהיה לי באמת במושג של hybrid cloud, באמת מוכן של לא משנה איפה אני שם את זה, או לא משנה איפה אני מריץ את הקוד שלי או פורס אותו, בדיוק שם זה ירוץ בדיוק כמו שאני מייעד לו. כמובן שהכל יהיה מובטח, שהכל יהיה מוגן, שהכל יהיה שמור לי, שהפלטפורמה כבר תביא לי בעצם את הפתרון של סקיוריטי עד מידת הקוד של האפליקציה, כדי שאני אדע שאני באמת מוגן ממתקפות אחרות שלא קשורות לקוד שאני פיתחתי, ואני גם רוצה להיות מה שנקרא מוכן לגלובל דליברי. מחר כתבתי אפליקציה או איזשהו שירות סאס ברמה מאוד מאוד גבוהה, שאני רוצה עכשיו לצאת מהמקום הקטן שבו אני נמצא ולהתפרס בכל העולם, בכמה ריג'נים, על כמה פאבליק קלאודס, אני רוצה שזה יהיה לי כמה שיותר נוח וכמה שיותר טוב.
אורן, רק אנחנו לא רואים את המצגת שלך?
לא רואים? אוי,
לא
למה?
רואים.
לא, רגע, אני אעשה עוד פעם share. עכשיו רואים?
מצוין.
עד עכשיו לא ראיתם? אוי. אני מתנצל על זה. אז באמת אנחנו רוצים להיות אג'ילים ושזה יהיה מיושר, באמת לא משנה איפה אנחנו פורסים את האפליקציה שלנו בכל העולם, ובדיוק בשביל זה בעצם נולד OpenShift. OpenShift כפלטפורמה, קודם כל מי שלא מכיר, OpenShift היא היום הפלטפורמה המובילה בעולם להרצת קונטיינרים, להרצת מייקרו-סרוויסים ו-Cloud Native Applications. OpenShift מורכב מהמון המון המון חלקים, זה ממש אקוסיסטם שלם, אבל במקור שלו יש לנו בעצם 3 פילרים. ב-OpenShift. יש לנו בעצם את הבסיס, הבסיס שלנו זה בעצם מערכת הפעלה, Red Hat, כפי שאתם יודעים, במקור היא מערכת הפעלה של לינוקס, לקחנו את כל הידע ואת כל הניסיון שצברנו מהקמת מערכת הפעלה של לינוקס לעולם של קוברנטיס, ובעצם חיברנו בין שתי הדברים. היום בעצם כל העבודה על המערכת הפעלה נעשה דרך ה-API של קוברנטיס, כדי שיהיה לנו ממשק אחיד ונוח לניהול גם ברמת האפליקציה וגם ברמת הפלטפורם. כמובן שאנחנו רצים על כל דבר. OpenShift יכול לרוץ על פיזיקל servers, על virtual servers, כמובן על private cloud, אם אנחנו מסתכלים על OpenStack, או על ה-VMware Cloud, וכמובן ב-Public Cloud, כל ה-Public Clouds, גם הגדולים וגם הקטנים, יש להם mutual certificate איתנו, ואפשר להריץ OpenShift בצורה מלאה. וכמובן, תחום שאני יודע שהוא חדש יחסית לרובנו, אבל גם עדיין נמצא בשטח, זה כל עולם ה-Edge, גם שם אפשר להריץ OpenShift, יש לנו וריאציה של OpenShift שרצה יופי, ואפשר לנהל אותה בצורה נוחה ופשוטה. כל העולם בעצם של מערכת הפעלה ביחד עם קוברנטיס, זה בעצם OpenShift Container Engine, שזה מאפשר לי ברמה הבסיסית מאוד, קוברנטיס בלבד עם מערכת הפעלה מובטחת, אבל OpenShift זה הרבה יותר מזה. OpenShift Container Platforms בעצם מאפשר לי גם לנהל את ה-workload שלי על המערכת, יש לי קונסול עשיר ומאוד מאוד חזק, גם לפתח CI/CD וגם כל העולם של ה-GitOps, כמובן להסתכל ברמת הלוגים, על הלוג מנג'מנט, על ה-cost מנג'מנט, לנהל את ה-application services, בין אם זה דרך דרך API management או messaging של קפקא ו-RabbitMQ. יש לי כמובן גם דאטה סרוויסים, כמו דאטה אנליסטיק של AI ו-ML, וגם לעולם ה-Development. אם אני באמת רוצה שכל המערכת שלי תהיה אגנוסטית, אני יכול לייצר לו Web IDE באמצעות Container Ready Workspaces. זה כשאני מסתכל בעצם ברמת ה-OpenShift Container Platform הבודד, כשהוא רץ לבדו, אבל כמובן היום אנחנו בארגונים גדולים, מריצים הרבה סביבות, וכמובן כשאנחנו מסתכלים על Hybrid Cloud, אנחנו נריץ גם OpenShift Bioservices, וגם נריץ את זה על אולי אפילו כמה מספקי הענן הציבוריים, אם לא על אחד מהם, ולכן צריך איזושהי מערכת שתדע לנהל ולתת לנו מקום single point of glass להכל, ופה בעצם OpenShift Plus, Platform Plus בא לידי ביטוי. זה נותן לנו בעצם קודם כל ניהול ו-Policy Enforcement בתצורה של Advanced Cluster Management, של OpenShift ACM, כמובן כל העולם של Security, כל ה-Reporting, כל ה-Monitoring, וכל בעצם כל האנליטיקס שאני רוצה ברמת Security, דרך אגב גם Policy Enforcement, יש שם ברמת ה-Network ו-Network Canvas שאני רוצה להסתכל עליו, אז כל זה קורה לי דרך ה-ACS, ה-Advanced Cluster Security, OpenShift ACS, וכמובן יש לי גם את הנושא של ה-Registry, אני בונה אימג'ים, אני רוצה שזה יופץ לי לכל מיני ריג'ינים בכל העולם, וששם אני אעבוד בעצם עם קוויי, שיש לי יכולת של מירורין ורפליקות לכמה אתרים שונים, ולא פחות חשוב מזה, אחרון חביב, כל הנושא של דאטה מנג'מנט, OpenShift בעצם מה שעשינו, לקחנו את המוצר המוצלח מאוד שלנו של סף, והפכנו אותו בעצם לחלק מ-OpenShift, הוא נקרא היום OpenShift Data Foundation, שמאפשר לי בעצם כל סוגי הסטורג', בין אם זה פייל סיסטם, בין אם זה read write many של shared file system, וכמובן בלוק סטורג', הכל נמצא לי בעצם תחת מטריה אחת של OpenShift פלוס. כל הדברים האלה בסופו של דבר נותנים לנו שליטה ברמה מאוד מאוד גבוהה של איזה אפליקציות אנחנו יכולים לפרוץ על מולטיפול קלאסטרס כמובן, כל הפייפליין שלנו אנחנו יכולים לנהל את זה דרך ACM, וכמובן Security Observation ו-Enforcement, להגן על הרבה מאוד מהמוצרים שלנו, להריץ isolation לכל אחד מהאפליקציות ול-environment שלנו, גם ברמת הקלאסטרים לבודד אותם אם אנחנו רוצים, והחלק הלא פחות חשוב זה בעצם לעשות extended, וכשאני אומר extended בעצם אני מתייחס לאקוסיסטם שיש ל-Red Hat, בעצם כחלק מהמהות שלה הבינה שבלי שותפים אנחנו לא נצליח לצמוח ולהגיע למקומות שאנחנו רוצים להגיע אליהם, ולכן ב-OpenShift יש בעצם, חואן זרק את המילה אופרטור בעצם מאפשר לי לעשות deployment מהיר ונוח לגבי איזה שהם מוצרים שהם בעצם עם השותפים שלנו, כך שהם יכולים מהר מאוד להריץ את כל המערכות שלהם, את כל המוצרים שהם בנו על OpenShift בצורה מהירה ופשוטה. יש לנו מגוון גדול מאוד, יש לנו אקוסיסטם ענק, מה שאתם מסתכלים פה זה חלק קטן שרציתי להביא כדמות מייצגת. יש לנו לסטורג' שותפים, לנטוורקינג, לסקיוריטי, לביג דאטה, ל-AI/ML, וכמובן לדבסופס, ואם תשימו לב, גם GitLab נמצא שם, GitLab ו-Red Hat יש שותפות מאוד מאוד חזקה, מאוד מאוד טובה, אנחנו מאוד מאוד מאמינים בשותפות הזאת, ואני אעביר לידיר כדי להרחיב קצת יותר איך זה בא לידי ביטוי ואיך אנחנו יכולים ליהנות ממנה, ואיך אתם כמובן יכולים ליהנות ממנה. חבר'ה, תודה רבה. ידיר, I'm gonna hand it off to you. Thank you very much for your patience, man.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Shalom, everyone. So let me just share my screen and please let me know if you see it. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So again, thank you very much, everyone here, and it's a pleasure to be with you and together with people from Red Hat and Matrix. So today we'll be trying to present a little bit how can you basically work together with GitLab with OpenShift and how do we manage that. So the first thing is to introduce myself. I think actually Ruben did it already at the beginning, but I'm Idir or Meskin. My main role at GitLab is to work together with basically customers, people who are interested to understand how GitLab works, and try to make sure that you get the full view of what we are trying to achieve. The three of us, the three people here, we are partnering together with you. So the first step, it's usually is try to explain what GitLab is and what OpenShift is. So most of you already know what OpenShift is. It's basically the Red Hat. It's a Red Hat OpenShift is the Kubernetes version, and it's basically pretty scalable. You can basically use it for the on-prem side, for the cloud, and basically runs all the applications, run containers in your clusters. And how actually GitLab works. In our case, GitLab works in a way that we are like we call it the DevSecOps platform, basically to make sure that you can make sure that you have your code, you can run your pipelines, you can check the security parts, and you can test, you can deploy, and everything. So actually, what we are trying to do, and the reason why we have partnered with OpenShift, is to basically give the full like end-to-end from the infrastructure piece until like the very like code level layer, together with GitLab, and that actually has happened together with Red Hat team. So it's not just an effort from GitLab or an effort from OpenShift, but basically both companies and the both technical teams have worked together to basically build this integration. I'm gonna speak later a little bit more about how do we do that. But basically, it was a joint effort. Of course, it took time. It took some months and probably been some years to do that. But basically, right now we are like confident that everything it can work seamlessly in OpenShift. So thanks for both teams here. Well, here I'm gonna talk a little bit more about GitLab more in detail, right? So what we do at GitLab, as I said, we try to give you a piece like an overview on what we do. We try to cover the whole like development cycle from the beginning until the end. And it's not just about repository, because historically GitLab has been known. I think you can't actually see myself, so okay, I forgot to turn on my camera here. So you can see actually like not just your repository, only your code, but also you can follow what's going on afterwards. So let's say the feedback. So that's why later on I'm going to talk about what does collaboration means for both teams and how basically you get the benefit of working together with OpenShift and GitLab. So we start with the epic stuff, which is basically the planification, how actually the product managers, management, or people who are taking care of what is the business going to do, like trying to translate it into an issue, and then from there that can be moved into the development team, where basically they're going to make sure that the work is done, let's say. And then we introduce within the platform too the testing team, the security team, and also the compliance team, to make sure that the code that is delivered like ultimately will be something like is secure and doesn't really impact negatively. So that's why we have as you can see in the screen here, we basically provide like the full view, like the collaboration part, the feedback part, and we also try to make it work, or try to make these features created in a secured environment, And together with the OpenShift environment, we can create like, let's say, testing environments where you can develop, you can deploy, and you can tear down quickly your resources, which basically makes it very easy for everybody to test in real time what the things are going. And you don't have to wait until everything is merged into the master and then get the issue where it's already in production. I think nobody likes that, right? Regarding what GitLab does in terms of capabilities, I would say it's we cover like a whole spectrum of capabilities. So as I said, it starts with planning. What you see down is not actually what we're trying to replace or we're trying to go against you, but it's basically what we're trying to compare, trying to see. So let's say for the planification part, we have the Jira, the feedback. We try to touch every single punch point. So it's not just repositories. If somebody's telling me how can GitLab do the security scanning, and can telling you that we have our own security scanning tools, we have our own code quality tools, we have our own repository, our pipelines, and stuff like that. So we're trying to merge, but we are also pretty confident that our solution can work together very well with any other solution around the market. So we make sure that everything is integrated through either APIs or out-of-the-box integrations. Perfect. So now let's go into the important topic here is basically what are the benefits of using GitLab with Red Hat OpenShift. So I just stated 4 of them. I mean, there are way more bullet points I would like to, but I try to keep like all this information in slides really simple. As I said, after this session, you will be able to reach out to the team, to the brother team, to ask for more information. But I want to highlight these 4 points. The first one is basically the increase the agility and the flexibility. So when we speak about agility in the tech world, we are really talking about the ability to adapt really quickly to any change that to make sure that we are delivering faster, and not just faster, but faster results and better results. So here, basically, we work together with OpenShift. I mean, GitLab and OpenShift combines to provide an environment that drives this kind of agility that we are looking or are aiming to. And we have a term at GitLab which is called dogfooding, which means that we are using our own platform to understand what are the pains that you might have in the future, or even like where you're working. So that's why when with the GitLab's like CI/CD pipelines and using like the OpenShift infrastructure, like development and all the deployment process are basically streamlined. So you don't really, we made it in a way that you shouldn't have take care of like any of those pieces. Like OpenShift is quite stable, GitLab is quite stable, and we try to make the interoperability between the two the platforms, so you don't have to manage these kind of things. So this basically allows ultimately to release all the features a bit quicker, and basically people can change rapidly based on the feedbacks that you're getting, not just in the market, but also any feedback that you're getting from the business side. Second topic, I put it second, but usually it has to be, as most of us know, the first topic is the security and compliance. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have the time. We don't really have the capability or the bandwidth to work for that one. But usually, it's one of the most important things. I think nobody wants to be in the, let's say, in the newspaper saying that something happened to the platform. So for us, like security is a key factor, especially like in today's like digital era, which like security is one of the most targeted. I mean, companies are the most targeted, and the data is really valuable. I mean, your customers and users' data are really valuable. So basically, with the joint capabilities between GitLab and OpenShift, is not only we are deploying development of the processes securely, but also we are deploying environments in a way which basically can replicate with the potential security risk that you can get into the production environments. So here, GitLab basically brings a quite robust suite of security scanning tools to the table. That's our main job, and we have been improving since like ages on that one. And on the other side, like OpenShift, like security features ensure that the containerized applications are safeguarded against any potential threats. Additionally, what we try to do is you combine all the ecosystem aligns with basically the industry has some standards. So we try to make sure that we are aligned with these regulations and make sure. So here we know that OpenShift has a huge number of security features that are built in, so you don't really have to take care like the airbag scannings and stuff like that. We also GitLab how we enforce the security features, creating the compliance pipelines and best practices. And this is ultimately our job, is to make sure that we are helping you to protect your applications for any unauthorized or any malicious attacks. And the last two are not the least important, but let's say are something that everybody likes to know, is the reduced cost. So in this case, we have the cost optimization for us is one of the key benefits here. And what we're trying to do is to unify the source code management into the CI/CD and container orchestration. And we try to eliminate all the multiple standalone tools that you're trying to do in order to make sure that you focus in only one single place and one tool. And it basically reduces the result of that, this kind of like joint collaboration between the both. We try to lower the licensing costs. And basically, we try also to increase the automation capabilities, because then you don't have to go and create like custom or handmade integrations. So that's what we did. GitLab and OpenShift combo means basically fewer manual errors, leads basically to saving both time and resources. And basically the scalability, the scalable nature of OpenShift also ensures that you're using like the resources that you need, like infrastructure that you need, and you only pay for the resources that you have, and it's required. You don't go over that one. And the very last point I'm going to talk here, it's about the increase of collaboration. As I said at the beginning, for us is one of the most important things that we have been proven working together, GitLab and OpenShift, on the collaboration environments. So what we try to do is to bring all developers, all testers, and everybody, like let's say in operations or security, that can work together cohesively. And that's something I'm going to show you later in the platform. So they have all access to a shared set of tools and in basically one unified dashboard. So in this case, the features that we are providing, such as merge requests, code reviews, and it combined with the OpenShift like transparent like deployment processes, ensure that the team is always like in sync and they understand how things are going. And it's not only like trying to break silos, which is one of the main topics, but also try to speed up the feedback loop. And this basically will make the software development like easier for everybody. Now it's about how to use GitLab with the OpenShift. The two things I just put like in the left side the help chart. I think that's something common. I'm not even gonna go through it, because at the end it's the help chart. I think most of the people who are administrating right now Kubernetes understand how it works. I'm gonna talk about the GitLab operator. It's something that it's pretty much into the Red Hat ecosystem, like the OpenShift operators. So we have basically created this operator. And it's really important to understand the role of an operator in the ecosystem. And basically the operator is a way to package, deploy, and manage the entire Kubernetes native application. In that case, will be GitLab. So GitLab's operator for OpenShift brings all this kind of benefits. So you don't have to take care anymore about patches, manual patches, like in deploying the different components, something like that. It can be basically everything packed in one single place. The second thing is basically the simplified management. So I would say first and almost the most important thing is the operator simplifies the management of any application, like in that case GitLab. And basically GitLab is not an exception. And basically by encapsulating the best practices of running a software, like all the operations ensure that the application behaves as it should be, and that's the way we are trying to work on it. Regardless the environment. So you choose the environment. You have OpenShift, and you choose the environment you want to create. Let's say stage, dev, prod, whatever, and it will work exactly the same way in every single one. And this means, for instance, like tasks like provisioning, scaling, making configurations, and handle any kind of a standardization. It's quite easy and simple. So basically, for teams, this translates into more less manual work, or less manual intervention, I think that's the ideal word, and more consistent deployments. So it's really important to understand the reason why this operator works. I'm gonna go through a couple of more. I'm not gonna go through every single one, but I'm gonna talk about the automatic updates. Here, one of the standard features that an open operator has, especially like talking about the GitLab operator, is the ability to handle all the automatic updates. You don't really have to go anymore to do it by manually. So it's designed in a way that automatically detects any change, any update, and then it makes the rollout updates in that case. So this is not only basically to ensure that you are always running the latest and the most secure version of GitLab, but also reduces the overhead of associated with the manual patching. I think, and I don't know if you have a lot of people from admins, sysadmins or like developers, but I think nobody likes to have to do like this patching manually because you know that might have a risk. So basically the OpenShift operator will relieve on that side. And the very last time, and I think it's quite important, it's worth nothing to say that GitLab operator is certified by OpenShift. So it's, as I said, it was a joint work between both of them. So these certifications underscores that it's reliable, but it's also compatible with OpenShift, and basically all the users can be confident that any integration is tested, it's verified and supported, and basically by both teams. And this basically ensures that the amount of issues will be basically lower and smooth on any operational task. Basically, in a sense, as a summary on that slide, if you use and you leverage all the GitLab operators on OpenShift, you can basically integrate seamlessly with your cluster. You can manage, you can upgrade, and everything. And basically, the amount of effort to do that, it will take very little. We've got a question, like I believe it was about how long it will take to make an installation, install like the operator on OpenShift. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes to do that. So that's the reason why I was highlighting it's certified. I promise you only two more slides. After that, I'm gonna run like a demo. I'm gonna show you how does it look like a pipeline. I'm not gonna do the installation of itself because it's, as I said, it's just going to the website, clicking, and it takes 15 minutes. There's nothing really to show, and I don't want to spend because we can actually, because of the time, to spend on that. But I'm gonna show you the platform. But going in that one. So basically, to explore the GitLab operator for OpenShift is essential to basically grasp the significance of the context of the current designated applications, in that case in OpenShift. So operators are the purpose built to manage specific applications within the Kubernetes environment, and the GitLab operator is specifically designed for the optimal performance. So the reason why you use actually GitLab operator for OpenShift is because we know the amount of resources, and you use only the resources that are needed, and you don't go really like over that one. So that's really important. Basically, that's also guarantees that everything is working because, as I said, basically interacts with all the APIs from OpenShift, and it works pretty sure. I mean, we call it like it works with Harmony between the two apps. The last thing is basically to manage all the complexity, and however, like if you're not really familiar with the terms of operators, it might sound too complex for you. It's basically provides a single point of control, so everything it will be in one place. And whenever you're provisioning new instances, because it happens quite often, and you have a pool of instances that is going up and down, the configurations are quite easy to measure, quite easy to set, quite easy to implement. And basically, the operator, what it does is basically try to consolidate all those tasks and streamlines all the management processes, and basically reduces all the chances of the errors. So just to summarize this small slide, which is an extension to the previous one. What we do here is to try to bring to the next level all the DevSecOps efficiency, and I think that's the right to do by offering all the integrations, simplified management, fortified security, and all the continuous updates. So let's say we don't want people to spend or invest time on things that are not really required. So we try to do all the job. We are really specialized in that one. I think OpenShift and Red Hat team are really specialized on the infrastructure side, on the cloud side. We are really specialized on the development cycle. We try to do our job the best way possible to make it easier for you, and make sure that we understanding and fixing your needs. And the very last slide, it's about how actually works. And the reason why I was talking I spent nearly 60 minutes, I believe, talking about how amazing and great is, let's say, the operator and stuff like that. I want to show you how, and the reason why it's really easy. When I was talking about integration and cohesion and harmony, it's because you can trigger things. You can actually trigger certain actions based on, let's say, Git, in this case, GitLab actions. So you can. The reason why is because we are interacting we're using the operator, but this one is interacting ultimately with the cluster. So here I listed a bunch of actions which we basically will trigger. You can trigger like different actions. So if it is any image, because as we'll show you later, we have image registry too. So any push to the registry, I made a mistake, and apparently there are two who are basically the same, but one is the image push and the other one will be image pull. Any pull that is failing also can trigger an action on the pipelines or can trigger an action on the GitLab. This is really like useful, especially the pod failure, to perform like rollbacks if it's needed, because then what you can do is you can create a policy where for every pod failure that you have, it can be triggered like a rollback on the pipeline, so you can revert to the previous version to make sure that it's not impacting any production. There are a bunch of triggers, but I will just talk about the merge requests created and approved. The approved especially, because what does it mean? Whenever you've created a task and you want to make sure that this is deployed to make sure that the team, the testing team is checking whether things are going well or not. Whenever you are getting an action about, let's say, the triggers, the merge request approved, what you can do is, because you're using OpenShift in that case, you can create like a temporary environment where the application will be deployed, and in there you can test, or you can basically share the URL with the test team. They can do like, let's say, the smoking test, we call it, to see if things are going well. You can even run the dust, the dynamic security scannings too, or any other tool to make sure that ultimately when it gets merged into the main branch, master branch, production branch, it's going expectedly. And the very last thing is the manual law, to make sure that you can trigger any action from you can trigger any action by basically using the manual triggers. So say that I finished with the presentation only. I'm gonna go and jump into my into the demo. So allow me to share my screen where I have all the different parts of GitLab. A second here. Apologies, because I had a bunch of things here and now I can't really find the exact. Okay, I did. Merge request. Perfect. Share screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we see.
Perfect. I was supposed to talk about like all the let's say the epics, milestones, and things like that. But I decided to like make it short because it's a lot of information for the beginning. As I said, one of the instances here is running OpenShift, so that's why I'm telling you that all the integrations you can all the installation you can do, it doesn't make any change, and you can install it. I mean, it is actually an environment that they deployed like many times and they removed it. Keep in mind that GitLab offers two types of integration with OpenShift. You have the proper GitLab installation, which has the operator where you can see all the UI and stuff like that. And then you have a second operator, which is the GitLab Runner. And the Runner is ultimately like a machine, which is running all the pipelines. So all the commands that you have for your pipelines would be running over there. Are two different things. Both of them are actually certified, but just to make sure that you don't, when I mention about the GitLab operator right now, I was only talking about the GitLab UI, but the runner itself can also be installed within OpenShift. So this is basically a normal like merge request. For the ones who are not really familiar with it, it's basically a piece of work, and here involves like already development. As you can see, we have all the people, assignees, who are people who are working, reviewers, all the tags, which kind of milestones. So that's the usual work that everybody's expecting, all the changes that you have. One of the biggest advantages of running, let's say, GitLab in OpenShift or even Kubernetes is having your own proper like web IDE, which is it's included out of the box. What does that mean? Basically, you can create and make any change that you want within the GitLab platform, and you don't have to have to install anything. We understand that everybody, even myself, I do have my own IDE where I work. But it's true that we are trying to work towards this cloud development and make sure that everybody has access to the same. So if you're using, let's say, the operator, you will have your own web ID, and it will be every single user will have their own, and it can be also shared. The next step here is the usual thing, but I want to highlight this piece here. When we talk about collaboration, is to make sure that everybody has the same pane of glass, so everybody sees the same information. It doesn't matter if you're like dev, you're security, or you're a tester, you can get exactly the same. And this information here, since I built the pipeline, and I'm going to show you a little bit later how can basically to build a pipeline, and GitLab is quite easy. You don't have to integrate anything manually. If you have the job itself and it's reporting and creating the output expected, then it will create this information here. Just here we have the code quality. We try to test for every single commit that is created, basically run our own scanners. And also we have all the SAST and DAST, all the security. And I'm gonna go into in details here. But before that, I would rather, give me a second, I would rather go into the pipeline. So you see how a pipeline works. This is our own pipeline. This is actually something that you can try and see in our website. It's open, and yeah, it's quite extensive, quite big. But what I want to show you is because how can we create a pipeline in GitLab? In GitLab, usually what you do is create a YAML file and it has this information. And this is actually looks quite short, like a bit small, but it's not really, because what we do is we create a lot of templating and things like that. So at the end, we will have and end up with a huge file, but that's actually what we're trying to aim, like the decomposition of the different pipelines. Keep in mind that if you're using, I'm not sure if I have it, unfortunately don't have the DAST, but here we have the DAST. One of the most important integrations we have with OpenShift is as I said before, like the temporary environments, where you can run the DAST. If you don't know what DAST is, I will suggest you to at least check the information. It's not something built or created by GitLab. DAST is it's basically the name acronym for the dynamic application security testing. But what has to happen here, you have to deploy this application in a temporary environment where you will run kind of a crawler. You go through the different OWASP and different security rules and check if our application is compliant. How do we do that? By deploying things in different environments. As you can see here, you see that this branch, it specifically was deployed 2 days ago in one environment. If we click here, basically it will give me all the environments. And this is one of the advantages that we have by using the GitLab operator for runners for OpenShift and the GitLab installation process for OpenShift. Said that, let me just jump into the next topic. So once we have I'm gonna just check one of the pipelines here. One of the things we have besides one of the things we have besides the pipeline itself is, as I said, the code quality and security. Here we see by using our own scanners. As I said, it's also available in the operator. It will basically show you what we are looking for. And here we have actually one thing that is simplifying. And if you click, then it will basically open and tell us what is the problem, where is exactly this complexity and where is the problem. So we try to work on these kind of things. I will show you later on also there is a specific dashboard for this information, for these features, where you can get an overview on not only pipeline, because what you see here is just the pipeline, but also an overview of the repository and overview of the entire repo. The second part is the security. And I think I believe that this is one of the most important things too. To make sure that we are delivering code, let's say, secure to the environment. As I said, OpenShift takes care of the security and infrastructure and make sure that everything is working properly. We take care of, this case, the application security. And we have a bunch of tools here, as I mentioned, like SAST, DAST, dependency scanning. This is based on different layers that we have at GitLab. We have Premium and Ultimate, and that's something you can find in the website. But also here, we try to take care of what's happening into the different environments, which give you what happened what is the criticality of the or severity of the issue, and what kind of tool did find it and how it happened. And the very last piece I want to show you is the dashboarding, because, and I believe that this is the same way you, for instance, you use like OpenShift to measure the resources that are used to make sure that you're not overusing or overspending. We do have the same kind of view when it comes to security. We want to see how the team are increasing or decreasing the code quality, and how much are we improving on that term. So that's why when we talk about the vulnerability scanning, we make sure that we have a dashboard where you can see what's happening into the one specific repository. You can also make sure that we have the proper views. So this is what we have seen before. I'm not gonna touch right now explaining this in this webinar the AI capabilities that we are also integrating, but just to make you like some brief on that one, we are also working, and we have already implemented, let's say, something called the explain the vulnerability, so it will tell you what's going on the specific vulnerability, and also if there is any possible, let's say, issue that we have faced due to this vulnerability. So this is our main goal in terms of security. Also, we have something called the compliance framework to make sure that we can set standards, to make sure that the scanners will have to run every time that someone is creating a new repo. And it doesn't matter which team you can create. Say you can, let's say for instance, say I want someone to create SaaS, and it has to run always. And you can create and customize your own rules for this matter. And said that, I mean, as I said, there are plenty of things. The very last thing I want to touch point is the let's say the analysis. For the ones who are like quite familiar with the DORA metrics, we do have a way to measure this information. How is the lead time? What's the cycle time? Actually, we do explain for every single metric what does it mean, and we do that way basically because we have the infrastructure and we have the application, so we can measure and see how things are going, how many things are failing, how many resources are you using, the team is improving or not, and this is actually provided out of the box. And say that from my side, from them, as I said, is a bunch of things more to do. What I will recommend you, all of you, is to make sure that you, if you want to understand how the GitLab operator is used and installed, there is a nice blog post that it was actually in the Red Hat website that basically explains, it's actually from a few months ago, explains what is the operator, how we work, and actually how is it installed. You can use the OpenShift based on AWS, based on GCP. You can use your own on premises. You can even have, if you want to, after that webinar, you want to try it quickly, you have even a local version to do it. So if you go to the webinar, to the OpenShift console, there is a section where you can create a cluster, install a cluster in your own local. Basically, you install a small install binary, and then you will have your own. And it's pretty easy. Basically, you have the SCC, and then you have the ingress controller, and from there, what you have to do is, as I said, it's just search and install. You go to the operator hub, which for the ones who don't know is basically, let's say, the place where all the operators that are officially certified by Red Hat and OpenShift are set, and then you just have to follow the integrations. That's pretty much everything. With that said, that's all from my side. I will hand it over, I believe, to Juan if there is any question, I believe. Or Rona, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Idir. For those who doesn't know, Idir is actually a senior architect at GitLab. Thank you so much, Idir. It was lovely. And we'll just go over the questions that were asked. So first one is from Roy. What about Argo CD? Do we need GitLab CD if we use Argo CD already?
Okay, the answer is no. Actually, you can do is you can use Argo CD. Usually Argo CD is used for the GitOps. Worth to mention that GitLab is working together with Flux in that man. But let's say you can use Argo CD, and if you're already using it for in the OpenShift cluster, yeah, you feel free to use also integrated with GitLab.
And Yefet asks, does Ansible automation platform commonly used with GitLab, or does GitLab have all the automation built in?
Usually what we try to do, this question is a bit like open, I believe, because when you talk about Ansible automation platform, are you talking about installing like the GitLab, if you're talking about installation of GitLab, using the operator is more than enough. I don't know if Oren, you have something to say here, but I believe that's
I think if I understand correctly, it's if they want to trigger some kind of process with GitLab CI/CD to run an Ansible automation. If that's the way I understood the question, I hope that's correct. Basically, yes. I mean, obviously, Ansible automation platform has an API and has a webhook, and GitLab can trigger that webhook in several cases. You just need to tell it through the CI/CD process. So there's definitely very good integration between the two.
And Orna asks, does it possible to do a POC in my organization? What does it require?
In that case, a POC, I mean, you contact with, in that case, you can contact with a team of Matrix here, and they will be basically put you in touch with together with GitLab and Red Hat team. And we're more than happy to work together to basically to run this POC.
בשמחה.
And final answer from Tal, how fast can you actually implement the GitLab solution on the Red Hat OpenShift platform in the company?
זה לוקח בערך רבע שעה, 20 דקות להתקין את האופרטור, ואפשר ישר להתחיל להשתמש בו כמו שאתה רוצה. Sorry, Idir.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Okay, so basically that's it. All the participants will get the webinar recording by the end of the webinar. So thank you so much, Juan, Rubar, who opened the webinar. Juan is a data open source and DevSecOps group manager at Matrix. Thank you, Oren, a senior solution architect in EMEA, ISB at Red Hat, and thank you, Idir, senior architect at GitLab. Thank you all so much. תודה לכולם, תודה לכל מי שהשתתף. אתם תקבלו את ההקלטה בסיום הוובינר במייל. ותודה לחואן ממטריקס, לאורן מרדט ולאידיר מגיטלאב. תודה לכולם, ונתראה בוובינרים הבאים.
תודה לך, אורנה.
תודה.
תודה לכם.
ביי להתראות.
אורנה, אל תשכחי את הוואוצ'ר לגלידה.
כמובן, הוואוצ'ר לגלידה, לא נשכח.
יאללה.
תודה לכולם.
תודה.
ביי, תודה.
ביי ביי.